When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Growing a successful business has never been easy. But whether you're navigating a complex industry or trying to reinvent one, our breadth of banking experts are here to collaborate on market-proven solutions. At KeyBank, we're built to grow with your changing needs because we're not just here for the business you are now, we're here for the business you'll become. Reimagine business as usual. KeyBank opens doors. Learn more at key.com/B2B.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I want to welcome you to the new and improved Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast. After many years of interviewing the best and brightest thought leaders around the world on my SiriusXM show, I am excited to now have those interviews available to people around the globe on this podcast. So many people would write us and say, I love what I've been hearing about your interviews with these great people. Where can I access them? I live in this country or that country, or I don't have access to that technology. How can I get the information? Well, I'm so excited now that we are able to offer the information and the interviews free on this podcast. So we want you to sit back and enjoy this message and let me know how you like them. And then do me a favor. If you like them, send a review, write a review and post it. And if you like it, hit like on here and share it and tell everybody you know about it, and then subscribe to this podcast so you'll get the alerts when we post a new interview episode. Thank you for listening and enjoy the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast.
Named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world. Inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame. Award-winning singer. Best-selling author. And now, here's Willie Jolley.
Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Willie Jolley, and welcome to the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways show. I am so excited about today's show. I want to talk to you today about wealth and how you can start to generate more and grow yourself and grow your wealth with principles from my new book, Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better, that will give you lessons for long-term generational wealth. Don't go anywhere today because this is going to be a masterclass. Well, you know, I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, I can't refuse it. I didn't seek it, I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. So I'm grateful for this minute, this moment, this opportunity to share ideas with you. I want to thank you for listening, for sharing with your friends and family members and co-workers, making this the #1 self-help show in the country now. And I want to thank all of our supporters, particularly our partner and sponsor, Truist Bank, who have made a commitment to this show because they say they like the kind of content that we continuously bring to audiences to try and help people do more, be more, and achieve more. And you know, I take a moment at the beginning of every show to thank God. Give him glory for life and strength and health. Thank him for all the blessings, all the gifts that he's given. I'm grateful. And I take a moment because I don't want to be someone who's been blessed and didn't take a moment to say thank you. So my lesson to you every week is God's gift to you is life, your gift to God. What you do with it, do something extraordinary with it. Well, over the last few months, I have been doing interview after interview. Every day I'm doing interviews with radio and television stations. Some of those interviews are magical. They're just magical. And the host will bring out of me things that I've not talked about before. And this is one of those moments that I want to share an interview I did with the incredible host, Carl Nelson, who has a huge following all over America. And I was on his show previously a few weeks ago, and the response was just overwhelming. We got the book sales, and it was just amazing. And he said, you've got to come back again, because people around the country just loved you. Around the world who listened loved you. And so we did a second interview, and this one brought out even more than I had done the first time. So join me for this interview with Carl Nelson and the lessons I learned, and I'll share with you from Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. Let's go.
Let's turn our attention to our next guest now, motivational speaker, and he's also an author, best-selling author of that, Dr. Willie Jolley. Dr. Jolley, Grand Rising, welcome back to the program.
Grand Rising, my brother. Good morning to all your listeners, and they are vast all over the world. I've been so overwhelmed by the responses to my last interview. I knew we had to do more because they are awesome. Your listeners are awesome.
Well, actually, the guest is doing it. They're responding to what they heard from you. So let's see if we can duplicate that this morning. Because your book, your latest book, Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. Can you explain the title of that book?
Yes, the book is the result of the last 20 years of my interviewing billionaire after billionaire after billionaire, millionaire after millionaire after millionaire on my Willie Jolley Wealthy Way show and podcast on Sirius XM and on all the podcast platforms. And the lessons I learned, I must say I was just ignorant about wealth. I thought I knew what wealth was, but I was wrong. And one day that proverbial light bulb went off above my head, and I said, oh, I finally understand what they were trying to tell me, but I couldn't get it. And I'm an educated man, but I just didn't get it. The difference between rich and wealthy. Then once I got this illumination, this enlightenment, I said, okay, maybe I'm the only one who doesn't know this. Maybe I'm the one who missed the memo. So I started going around the country as I do my speaking to corporations and conventions and churches. I started asking people, hey, what is it? What's rich to you? And the number one answer was always $1 million. You got $1 million, you're rich. Okay, great. Now, if $1 million is rich, then what's wealthy? And they would stop, they'd think, they'd look up in the air, they'd ponder, and I'd get different messages. And they'd say, well, I guess it's 5 million or 10 million or $1 billion. Or you get this one. In my opinion, oh, my God, in my opinion, you don't have an opinion about gravity. Jump off a bridge, you going down. It's not an opinion. So if they didn't know what it was, how would they ever hit it? And so then I went back. I said, they don't get it either. They didn't know either. So I realized they didn't know either. And so then I went back to those billionaires and millionaires I'd interviewed on my show. I called them and I said, let me tell you, here's a theory I'm working with that came to my mind. Is this it? Am I right on this? And each one said, you're absolutely right. That's the difference. And most people don't know the difference. And they go through life not knowing the difference. Willie, you write books, you do television, you do radio, you've got the platform. Write the book, get the word out, because this is going to change not just people's lives today, but their children's lives, their grandchildren's lives, and the children not even born who even thought about their grandchildren's grandchildren. If you can get this word into people's minds. So I started writing the book, and the book has just exploded, In a couple months it's been out. People are buying copies like crazy. So let's get to the answer to the question. What's the difference between being rich and being wealthy? So in the book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill did something that people have used since. He gave a definition to success. He said, success is the ongoing realization of a worthy goal or idea. Let me say that again. He defined success. Success is the ongoing realization of a worthy goal or idea. In this book, which some have called now the sequel, I've had numerous people who have said your book, after reading it, is a sequel to Think and Grow Rich. Here's the answer to the difference between being rich and wealthy. Rich is money you earn from what you do. Wealthy is money you generate from what you own. Let me say that again. Rich is money you earn from what you do, typically during the day. Wealth is money you generate from what you own while you sleep. Woo! When that thing got to me, my life changed. And now people are calling me and saying, I wish I'd known what I just read in your book 30 years ago. But I even though I didn't know it 30 years ago, I'm moving right now. You know, there's an old saying that says, when's the best time to plant a tree that takes 80 years to grow? 80 years ago. When's the next best time? Today, right now. And so people are getting this. They're buying it, the book. They're making their children read it. And they're saying we're seeing a change in our families. Mindsets are shifting. Because, see, wealth starts in your mind. Do you hear me? Wealth starts in your mind.
Yeah, family, fascinating guest. He's a motivational speaker, you can tell. His latest book is called Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. His name is Dr. Willie Jolley. This book we're talking about, that fantastic book. Let me just ask you this. If you try to get this book into the hands of some of these professional ball players, NBA and NFL, they need this book because many of them end up broke after a couple of seasons when their playing days are over and they don't know what to do.
You're absolutely right. I had a call yesterday. See, this is you're right on. You hitting right on all cylinders. I had a call just yesterday from Lonnie Sanders. Lonnie Sanders was the first black defensive back who was drafted by the Washington football franchise. He's 84, 85. He is in the book, one, and second, he has endorsed the book, told everybody he knows. He said, you got to read this book. He called me yesterday, said, I just got a contact for you for the NFL Players Association. They need this book. Let me tell you a story that happened, Carl. So you just what you said, I experienced similar real time. I was a few months ago now, actually. I was in Cleveland, Ohio. I was doing an event with our brother Ben Crump on Friday night. Saturday I had off, and Sunday morning I was going to do a big church. And so Saturday afternoon, and my friend, book publisher of Code M Magazine, which is a great magazine for black men, by the way, Code M Magazine took me to lunch. And while we were at this restaurant, one of the Cleveland Browns star players was walking by with his entourage. And this magazine publisher knew him and said, hey, come over. I want you to meet somebody. He brought him over and said, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and he teaches people how to become wealthy. And the young man said, well, I'm already wealthy, but I guess I can get more wealth. Give me your card. And he and the entourage left. And I said to the magazine publisher, I said, you know what? I don't know that young man's finances, but I can bet you dimes to dollars he thinks he's wealthy. He's probably only rich. The owner is wealthy. See, that young man comes to the arena, the stadium, on Sundays. He gets his gear on. He plays the game, he runs, he jumps, he catches the ball, he gets tackled, he sweats, he finishes, he's tired, and he leaves that stadium that day, hopefully with a net worth of at least $1 million. On the other hand, the owner never left the owner's box. He didn't sweat, he didn't run up and down the field. He sat in that box and sipped his favorite drink and ate his favorite food. And when he left that arena, he had a net worth of over $1 billion. And then when that young man is no longer productive, he's no longer able to do what he does, or he gets hurt, that owner is going to replace him with another young man. And if that young man did not invest his money wisely, just what you said, he's going to be broke. That is why over 70% of professional athletes are broke 5 years out of retirement, because they don't know the difference between rich and wealthy. So you were right. I am going to be in touch. The guy gave me the name to the lady at the Players Association. I'm going to be in touch with her today to say this is a book. Not just the players, professional. We got all these NIL deals. We got young people getting NIL deals. Some of them will go on to the pros, but some will not, but they will get paid handsomely. They got to know the difference between being rich and being wealthy so they can make this money last not just for a couple years, but for decades and decades. So rich is good, wealthy is better.
Wow, we got to take a quick break. You're listening to a interview I did on the Carl Nelson Show that went viral. And you're going to want to hear more of this interview because he brought out things that I have never talked about before. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show. And for sure, the best is yet to come. We'll be right back.
Friendship is not about being convenient. It's about being...
I'm so excited about the response to my new book, Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. So many have said that the book has had a profound impact on their thinking. I wrote the book to teach others what I have been taught over the last 20 years, interviewing billionaire after billionaire. And most of those billionaires started with nothing. I want to offer you some of the most powerful chapters in the book as a gift. Go to richisgoodwealthyisbetter.com to read the free chapters so you can get on with growing your wealth. Get the free chapters at richisgoodwealthyisbetter.com. Hey, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and support for the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show and podcast come from Truist Bank. When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. When you become a homeowner, your future starts to feel different. That's power, knowing you could be creating generational wealth to pass down. Truist believes that a path to home ownership exists for you. I hear people say, well, I don't see how I could ever own a home. Truist has programs that could help you buy a home with a lower down payment than you might expect. And their professional guidance helps you build belief that home ownership is within reach. Connect with a Truist teammate to learn about options that are available to you. They will listen to your goals and follow through. Reach them by calling 855-562-1579. Do this for your family and your legacy. That number is 855-562-1579 or visit truist.com/homebuyer. That's truist.com/homebuyer. Certain programs and geographic restrictions may apply. Contact a loan officer for details. Truist Bank is an equal housing lender. And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show and podcast around the country and around the world. I want to thank you for listening wherever you might be. If you're in another country, feel free to email me at info@williejolly.com. Just let me know so I can know where my friends are around the world. We got so many who listen on the podcast around the world. So info, INFO, @williejolly.com. We've had people say they listen from London and Greece and South Africa. Wherever you're listening in, just info@williejolly.com. I want to encourage everybody to go to winwithwillie.com, winwithwillie.com. That's my site where I have all my websites. So I have my faith-based website, my business site, my youth motivation site, my if you want to be a speaker site, my music site. I mean, just one after another, after another, after another to help you grow yourself and grow your wealth. Well, for those who are just joining us, I have been doing interview after interview to promote this new book, Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. Every day I'm doing many interviews. And most of them are very nice interviews. They're very good, but some of them are magical. And I did one with the Carl Nelson Show that went viral. I mean, it just went nuts. People around the country started listening and calling and saying that was an incredible interview. And so I didn't want them to be the only ones to hear this interview. I wanted my listeners to also hear this. So here we go with this interview that I did with Carl Nelson on his show about Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. Let's get back into it.
One of the chapters in the book, you say, grow your wealth. To grow your wealth, you must first grow yourself. What does that mean?
Yeah. You know, you can get rich on accident. You can get rich on accident. You can walk into a basketball arena and they say, bing, 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 bing. You're the 1,000th person who's walked in tonight. You get the chance to shoot the half-court shot for $1 million tonight. And at halftime, you go down to the floor, and you've never shot a basketball from half court in your life. But you take that ball and you close your eyes, you throw it as hard and as far as you can, and swoosh, it goes in. You get $1 million. You're rich. But wealth takes time. It's a series of decisions that you make over time. You decide to live below your means. You decide to invest. You decide to get you in some insurance. You decide to not get the newest, fanciest car right off the out of the lot. You decide, hey, you know what? I'm gonna let somebody else take that hit on those taxes. And when they get it back after a year, maybe one of these athletes who buy these cars and turn them in every year, I'll get my car after they've paid all the taxes. A same car just a year later, and I've saved the taxes. The one decision after another. And so in order to grow your wealth, you must first grow yourself. It's a thinking. It's a financial literacy, understanding how money works. I wish I could tell you, Carl, that this is somebody who had it all together. I've made just about every bad money decision you can make. Like, I'll give you an example. My wife and I, when we got married, when we were newly married, and we had our first child, we went to visit her father down in Hampton, Virginia, and he was a car guy. He was a pastor. He had cars. And he said, you need to have my grandson in a safe car. So he said, I'm going to call my friend at the Volvo dealer and need a station wagon. And we said, we can't afford a brand new car. He said, well, let's just talk to them. The guy came to the house, picked us up, took us to the dealership, rode us around in this beautiful car, brand new. Woo! And we told him what our finances were, which were paltry at that time. He said, well, we'll work it out. We ended up never asking what the interest rate was. Didn't care. He said, we'll put you in a car and get at a rate, at a monthly payment you can afford. We ended up with a 70-month car payment, 72-month car payment. We bought that car 3 times, Carl, because we didn't know better. We did not know better. But when we grew our thinking, when we grew our financial literacy, when we knew more, we could do better. And when we could do better, we could start to grow wealth. I'm telling you.
All right, hold that thought right there. Because, you know, what you mentioned with the car thing, I remember growing up, there was this brother in our neighborhood. Caddy was back in the days. These brothers always had these 2-door brown caddies, you know, and every year he'd get another one. And people thought he was rich, but he was leasing or renting. So what happens for a person like that who reads your book and is sort of upside down? Is there a way out? Does he have to, because you mentioned, 7 years? Wow. Do they still have to keep it? Is there a way that they can get from under that?
Well, you know, let me say for the record here, I'm not a financial planner, nor am I a financial advisor. I'm just a really good listener. And so the materials I have in my book are the result of the people who I've interviewed, who I took notes from them, and I wrote what they taught me. My recommendation for somebody who is in a car that's upside down, which is what that would be, if that car were to be totaled, they would be paying the rest of that car off, depending on their insurance, for a long time. So I don't know I don't want to give them the answer. Here's what I would do if I were in that kind of situation. I would start to double up on my payments. I would do all I could. I would take extra work. I would get an extra job. In my book, my former book called Turn Setbacks into Greenbacks, I have a chapter, number 3, that said, don't let your pride poison your prosperity. And in that book, it says, don't let your pride keep you from being prosperous. You might have to do a job an extra job at DoorDash or Uber or working at Walmart even in the evenings. Well, you got to find more revenue streams and revenue sources to get that weight off of you. I was in Walmart one night, Carl. I saw a very well-known TV personality in the Washington area, and I said, "Man, what are you doing here in my up this neighborhood with the Walmart up here?" I said, "You live up here?" He said, "No." He said, "I'm doing DoorDash." I said, "What?" He said, "I needed extra money, and I decided to do DoorDash." And he said, "I read your book. I decided not to let my pride poison my prosperity." He said, "So I'm going to get this thing off of me." So my recommendation, and I'm not telling them what to invest in or anything like that, but I would say you should be understanding you need more revenue to get that weight off of you. You know, my wife and I at one point were in great debt. And so we took all sorts of, I was speaking everywhere. I was speaking for kids. I was speaking for churches. I was speaking for people's family reunions. I was taking every speech I could to get that money in our bank account that we could get that debt down. So that's my recommendation, Carl.
All right. Family and motivational speaker and author. His name is Dr. Willie Jolley. And his great book is a fantastic book. As he's telling you, rich is good, wealthy is better. You're out there. But some people, you know, Dr. Jolley, think it's what you make, how much money you make. It's going to take you, make you move up. But you say it's not what you make, but what you do with the money you make. Can you explain that chapter for us?
Yes, that's a great chapter. Because, see, you're right. Many people say, well, I don't make enough money. I tell you, riches, money you earn from what you do. Wealthy is money you generate from what you own. Some people say, well, I can't own anything. I don't make enough money. Not true. Not true. In the book, I give example after example after example of people who were not high income earners, like Mary Ellen Pleasant. She was a domestic worker. She cleaned people's homes and washed their clothes. She did that in the early 1900s. She never made more than $6,000 a year cleaning people's homes and cleaning their clothes. But she lived below her means, invested the difference, and when she died, she had a net worth of $2.7 million. I tell the story about the legal secretary who never made more than $45,000 a year being a legal secretary back in the 1960s. Before there was the internet, the lawyers would come out every day and tell her, hey, call my broker, put this much on that stock. Call my broker, put that much on the other stock. She said one day over lunch with them, what is all this stock stuff y'all be talking about? And they said, we're going to teach you. Over lunch every day, they would start to teach her about stocks and bonds and investing. Well, she started taking some of her salary, and when they would invest in something, she would invest in it, a little bit in it. They might buy 10 shares, she'd buy 1 share. Well, when she retired from that law firm, never making more than $45,000 a year, she had a portfolio of over $8 million. There's one story after another. This book is incredible. The lessons I've learned from this book, the people I've learned from who have blessed me and just said, here's something you got to keep in mind. This thing, that thing, the different types of investment, the 8 streams of income. Everybody should have at least 2 streams of income. If you got 1 stream of income, you are giving yourself a tough path. 1 stream of income. What happens if that stream stops? We know in D.C. a lot of people got doged, but you should have multiple streams of income. And that chapter you talked about grow yourself to grow your wealth, I talk about Lee Jenkins. He said, if we took all of the money out of the hands of wealthy people and put all the money in the hands of poor people, an amazing thing would happen. Within a few years, the wealthy people will have the money back, and the poor people will be back to being broke. Why? Because wealth is not just what you have, it's who you are. He said, you see, wealth is built from the inside out, not from the outside in. So that is why millionaires can go broke over and over again. But you start to think different. The book teaches you, give you the 8 streams of income, the 5 money mindsets, the 5 types of wealth, what kind of opportunities there are for investing. I'm just so excited. I got to tell you a story called, look here. You got to hear this one.
This is called a cliffhanger because you've got to hear the story that I'm about to share on this interview. It's going to change your children. You want to get your children near the radio. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show. And for sure, the best is yet to come. We're going to take a break for station identification. Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I got an email from a gentleman in Australia who shared how he had been struggling in his business, and he bought some of my books and audios, and how it had a profound impact on his business, and he went from worst to first in his company. I shared with him how much I appreciated his note, but I told him those books, those audios, those videos were not just something that I just thought up one day and thought to write. They were born out of my experiences, out of the challenges of overcoming the problems and the difficulties and how I was able to do it. And I shared with him that others have sent similar messages and that these resources work. I want to encourage you and invite you to go to my store. Go to wjspeaks.com/shop. wjspeaks.com/shop. Get some of the books. It only takes a minute to change your life. Or a setback is a setup for a comeback. Or turn setbacks into greenbacks. Or chicken soup for the soul. Or an attitude of excellence. Or the book I wrote with my wife after 34 years of being married and not having an argument in over 30 years. We wrote a book called Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. And now it is saving marriages all over the globe. Go to the store, get some of the audios, the videos, the books, the resources to help you have greater personal and professional success. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Make this a great day on purpose. And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show with a special edition of the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show, where I am replaying for you an interview that I did on the Carl Nelson Show that's gone viral. People are playing this all over the country, and many have not heard it who would be in my camp, and I wanted you to hear this, so I'm playing it today. It's incredible, the messages and the stories and the ideas that he was able to bring out with his questions. So we're going to get right back to the interview shortly. But before we do, I want to take a moment to talk about our friends at Truist. I want to thank them for the support of the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show and the fact that they have been consistent. And Truist Bank wants you to know that they are your friends and are leaders in banking because they make a commitment to do what they do with unwavering care. What does that mean for you? Well, it means that they can help you identify your financial goals, and they can use their deep industry knowledge and awesome banking tools to help you reach those goals, like their money and mindset resources, which are available to anyone to use. You can find tons of articles and podcasts and other tools to help you along your financial journey. So check it out today at truist.com/money and mindset. Truist.com/money and mindset. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Well, folks, I'm so excited about the response we've gotten from this interview, and I wanted to make sure my listeners on my XM show as well as my podcast got access to it. And so that's why I'm playing it. Enjoy, because this is getting ready to give you a story that you want your children to hear, to show you how this book can motivate young people to make massive, drastic changes in their spending and in their money management habits. Let's get back into the interview.
My granddaughter, this is about impact on your family. That's the book, the impact this book will have on your children and grandchildren. My granddaughter, 30 years old, tech lady, Silicon Valley, making over $100,000 a year. 30 years old. Proud of her. Well, she came home for my birthday in the fall, and I gave her a copy of the book. She said, "I'm going to read it, Pop, on the plane." So she read it, and a couple weeks later, she calls me and said, "Pop, this book is incredible. I'm motivated. I've read it twice now. I've gone through it." She said, "Look, I got to talk to you, and you're not going to like what I say." "Okay, well, what is it?" She said, "I'm making over $100,000, but I'm up to my eyeballs in debt. I got a big luxury apartment in downtown San Jose. I got a nice car. I'm going on these excursions with my friends on the weekends to Hawaii and this place. I'm up to my eyeballs in debt. I got to get out of this debt. So here's what I decided to do, Pop. I decided I'm going to move out of this apartment, and I'm going to live in my car for 3 months. I said, what? She said, yeah, I can live in my car. I can park on my office building campus. It's secure. And then I can get up in the morning, drive to the gym, work out, shower, then go to work. I can eat, somewhere not expensive. And I can do that for 3 months, and I can take that $3,000 rent payment and pay down my credit cards. I said, no, baby, that's not safe. I don't feel comfortable with that. How about this idea? How about you move out of that apartment and you get a less expensive apartment? And you take that money, don't spend a penny of that money that you're saving, and you attack those credit cards. That's one. Two, on your job, you're making money, but you also have a skill that you can do in the evenings, helping people with their computers and create a second stream of income. And three, take full advantage of your 401k. Do those things, baby, and you're going to be on your way. Well, it's been months now. She did those things, and she said to me not long ago, Pop, I'm just about out of debt, and you were absolutely right. I've got more streams of income. You were right. This book has changed my life, Pop. It motivated me. That's the kind of story many people who are listening want to hear. They want to know how to help their children.
But before you make any changes, you got to change it in your mind. And how do you do that?
So many people, just what you just said, they have a mindset that being rich is something's wrong with it. I had a family member who had this mindset, and his was religious based, and he had been conditioned in the church where he went that being prosperous and having money and so forth was evil. And so he would work, and then he had 7 children, and he would give the money back to people doing odd jobs and say, well, I take a little bit. He felt bad about money. And many people deep down have a core, in their core, feel bad about money. And what you do to change that is you have to understand that the Bible does not condemn money. It condemns worshiping money. Some people get that confused. They think the Bible condemns money. No, you need money to pay your bills, take care of your children, for health care. Money gives you options, but the Bible does not condemn money. It condemns the worship of money. And I think that's a very important point for people to hear and to know about. Rich is good, wealthy is better.com. Rich is good, wealthy is better.com. And order copies. They're autographed when you order them there. Some people want to go to Amazon because they feel comfortable at Amazon. You can get them at Amazon, but they're not signed. But the signed copies you can get at Rich is good, wealthy is better.com.
All right. And speaking about religion, though, your thoughts on some people believe that the tithing, and let's go to the Bible now, that they should tithe.
Yeah. I believe in tithing. Now, let me tell you, but I don't just believe in tithing, okay? So this book is not a religious book. This is, I am a man who has a degree in theology, but this is not what I would call a religious book. I have some scriptural references, but it's a secular book. And in the book, I talk about the wealth creators who were not tithers because of religious perspective, but because they understood the importance of planting seeds for more money. You know, a good farmer will have 100 seeds he gets a corn crop, and he get up after that ear of corn. He doesn't eat every ear of corn. He keeps an ear to get more seed for future reference and future harvest. In the book, I talk about Rockefeller. Rockefeller says, hey, I believe in tithing because I learned that it helped me to grow from $1.50 a week salary to $100 million income. John Templeton said, hey, tithing is a secret most people don't take advantage of. He said, I started Money Magazine. I was the first one to start index funds. And he said, I started all that, and I tithe. It makes a difference. Even LL Cool J talks about tithing as being one of the secrets to his success in the entertainment field. So, people will argue about it. If they argue with me about tithing, I say, do it your way. Okay, do it your way. Go ahead and do it your way. I didn't try this. I tried it the other way, and I tried it this way. This way worked a whole lot better. And I also tell people I've been poor and I've been wealthy, and I like being wealthy better. Okay? All right, so rich is good. Wealthy is better. Come on, somebody.
Right. And Dr. Jolley, someone who called the studio wants to know, when will the audio book be out?
Audiobook is out. It's out. We've having some challenge getting it on Audible, but it's on a number of other audio platforms. But the audiobook is out in CD. If you want the CD, you can get it on my website at Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. We have the CD version as well as the digital version. You just have to look. Audible just takes a long time. We put it up there over a month ago, and they got it. It just takes a long time to get through their system. But it is out and available.
All right. What about home ownership? Is that the first step to building wealth these days?
Well, it's an important step. I'm not going to say it's the first step, but it's an important step. Why is it important? Because you're getting equity in a building that you live in. So you're not just living in it and paying rent, and at the end of the month, you've paid rent, and all you got out of it is a roof above your head. When you own your dirt, as they say, when you own your place where you live, every month you buy a brick, and you can redeem that brick later for money. So you buy a little, you start off with a little condo, and you buy that, and then you move up to a townhouse because you had some equity in that condo that you could sell rather than an apartment, and you got this little condo, then you sell it for a little townhouse, then you get a bigger townhouse, then you get a single family home. You keep moving up. And I'm not going to tell you which one to start, how to do that, but I do know that advisors have said over and over again, you need to own your dirt. You need to own your dirt. And I know it's hard. Now, let me just say it's hard. I wish I could tell you, oh, it's easy. Just no, it's hard. But it's worth the effort. It's worth the effort. I'm telling somebody who lived in his mama's attic. When my wife and I got married, she wanted to get an apartment. I didn't know what I didn't know, but something in my gut said, I don't want to rent. I want to own something. And so we lived in my mama's attic, a third floor attic, no bathroom on that floor, little narrow, steep steps down to the bathroom. And we did that for a year. We stacked our money and had some money to put down payment on a home. So
let me jump in here and share this with the family, though, Dr. Jolley. As most of you know, I don't endorse products or ideas. I just like to present the facts and as a journalist and let you make up your mind. But yes, the way this world is rolling today, and you're going to hear about all the changes, we're in some uncharted waters, where the world is, the entire world, not just your space, the entire world. You're going to hear about that with Dr. Gerald Horn when he comes on. You better figure out a way how to protect your space, your personal space. And this book, just from the outline, and I got my copy and started reading it, it's a roadmap to there. So, just if you're happy with where you are in life, you're content, they say in the book for you. But if you think you can do better, and most of you know you can do better, everything can be done better. Every single thing on this planet, that's where I come from, can do better. Every single thing that you do. This is a book. This is a must read. You talk about you got to stay hungry to stay wealthy. Can you explain that for us, Dr. Jolley?
Yeah, in the book, two people I talk about, one of them you know personally, and I know personally. Dr. Kathy Hughes is featured in the book, the fact she stayed hungry. The reason why we are listening to you on WOL is because Dr. Kathy Hughes said, you know what? I think this guy, Carl Nelson, is one of the best in the country and brought you on WOL. She was hungry. She lived in her studio for over 18 months, let her house get repossessed, let her car get her car get repossessed, her house gets foreclosed. She said, I'm willing to do it to pay my staff so that I will not have to lose the staff. She told me when I interviewed her. By the way, all the interviews with that generated this book are on my podcast. You can get my podcast free at Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast. But the interview, she talked about how she had to make tough decisions.
Oh my gosh. You got to hear the rest of this part of the interview. Don't go anywhere. We got more to come for my interview when I was interviewed with Carl Nelson on his show that went viral. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show, and for sure, the best is yet to come. We'll be right back.
Motivated, highly motivated, gonna take it to the top. Motivated, highly motivated, I'm never gonna stop. I had a job I really hated. It made me sick, but it got me motivated. I knew that this was not where I was meant to be. I didn't want to stay, but I was too afraid to leave. Then one day I got my check, there was almost nothing there. I went to the boss, he laughed and said he didn't care. My kids were at home hungry, I was about to lose my home. That's when I decided I had to make it on my own. Said I, gonna take it to the top. I said oh yeah, said I'm never gonna stop. My friends said I was crazy when I told them all goodbye, but the only one who's crazy is the one who's afraid to try. They said I'd never make it, said I would.
Hey, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, here to thank Truist Bank for their sponsorship of the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways show and podcast. Now, if you're a longtime Wealthy Ways listener, you know I believe that mindset is the key to success, and so does Truist. That's why they've created their incredible resource, Money and Mindset. It's full of tips to help you with your finances and help you with your well-being. You can get articles, quizzes, calculators, and hey, even more podcast information that will bless you, all for free and for anyone to use. Check it out today at truist.com/money and mindset. Truist.com/money and mindset. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care, and Truist Bank is a member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank. And we're back on the Dr. Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways show, and we are so excited about this special edition because this was an interview that I did on the Carl Nelson syndicated radio show that went viral. Just went viral, went nuts. People started calling and saying that it was so profound and so exciting, and they were just pumped up. So I wanted you to hear what they were excited about, and I want you to take this information and use it to grow your wealth. We're going to jump back into this interview.
Let me say, this book, Carl, has two focal areas. Well, number one is helping people to grow their wealth by the lessons I learned from the people I've interviewed. But the second group is the one who's buying the most books. They're buying them in droves. They're buying 7, 10, 15, 30 copies at a time. One lady bought a box. She said, I got children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, godchildren. Everybody's going to get a book. Here's why they're buying it. Because they're concerned. After they read the book, well, one man came to me and said, my biggest fear, Dr. Jolley, my biggest fear is that my children will not treat my money like I treated it. And they will go through my money in months, what took me decades and decades and decades to grow. He said, that's why everyone who's going to be in my will has to read this book, because they're not going to squander my money. They're not going to go through my money. No, not going to happen. And so this is critical, and many parents are dealing with this. I was doing a book signing, and I told the group, I said, just about every parent I know who has more than 2 children, well, few don't, but most people, one of those children is not good with money. And every month or 2 months, you done put them through school, they got a job, but every month or 2 months, they coming up to you saying, Mom, Dad, I'm a little short with my rent. I'm a little short with my car note. Can you help me out? And this lady, she came, it was so funny. She came up to me and she said, "Oh, you know my son, Dr. Jolley?" I said, "Oh, I do." She said, "Yeah, you know my son." I said, "What's his name?" She said, "Oh, you never met him, but you described him perfectly about the one who keep coming back and asking me for money. Every month he coming up asking for $20, $50, $100. Every month. I've probably given him $100,000 over the years. Well, how do I stop this?" I said, your son has to change his inputs to change his outputs. So here's what you do. You copy for the book for him. And you say to him, "Son, I heard this guy speak. I got his book. I read it. I thought it was awesome. But I want your opinion. I want your opinion, son." Stroke his ego. He'll read the book. When he reads the book, he'll change his thinking. Input determines output. But don't tell him you need this book. Just say, "I want your opinion," and it'll work.
I love that. Hold that thought right there, though, Dr. Jolley. Charles III is on line 1, has a question for you. Grand Rising, Charles. You're on with Dr. Willie Jolley.
Mr. Jolley, what I hear you saying basically is it's lifestyle choices. And yep. I know with a lot of our young people, they get started very young. I meet these people coming out of college, and the first thing they go out and do is get a very expensive apartment. I've talked to a few about getting roommates because they lived in dorms sharing it, but they feel like, no, I've got to have my own thing. So how do you combat that, get people out of that mindset? And I'll listen to you and take your response off the air. Thanks a lot, brother.
Thank you so much for your call, and thank you for your question about young people with roommates. I was on a call, again, folks, I'm not an advisor, I'm not a planner, but I was on a call with a well-known financial advisor, Black woman out of New York, and she said one of the things she recommends to her clients, keep a roommate for a couple years after college. You've got a roommate in college, cut those expenses and start your investment. If young people, oh my God, if I'd known this, Carl, if I'd known this, listeners, if young people would hear and read this book and take it to heart, like my granddaughter did after she read it, changed her lifestyle, took advantage of 401k, got out of that apartment, which was so expensive. If they will invest $100 a month for, I think it's 10 years. If you do it for 10 years, at $100 a month, and then you stop. If you just stop, if you start in your 20s and you stop when you're 30 and you don't invest anymore, but because of the miracle of compound interest, by the time you're 65, you have about $1 million. About $1 million in your portfolio. Just the power of time. So helping them understand. Get the book. That's the only thing I can tell them to do. You can't, you can talk to you blue in the face. And many parents struggle with something that many of us have dealt with. It's called the stranger from afar phenomenon, where you'll talk to you blue in the face to your children about something or other, and they just pay you no attention. Yet somebody come along who never seen them before, and they never seen before, and tell them almost the exact same thing, but do it with a little flair, and all of a sudden they get it. They get it. I had it happen with my daughter. My daughter, when she was a teenager, had a bad attitude. And I'm an attitude guy. I wrote the book, An Attitude of Excellence. I'm an attitude guy, but she couldn't hear it from me. But a friend of mine named Keith Harrell, who wrote the book, Attitude is Everything, I was sharing my issue with my daughter one day on the phone. He said, "Give me a number." He talked to that girl for 15 minutes. Pow, she changed. So sometimes you need somebody else other than you. That's why this book.
Right.
Next.
Let me add this. You've got some folks in the book that we've had on as guests. Michael Roberts, J.R. Fenwick, Dennis Kimbrough, John Hope Bryan. Those are the ones that I can recall that's in your book. And you've got some other folks and you also have where people can download their books as well. How did that come about?
Interviews. I got gifts from these different people in the book as gifts. You can get all sorts of interviews and great content from John Hope Bryant, Michael V. Roberts, J.R. Fenwick, one after another. Kathy Hughes, her interview. So everybody, this is a book that's going to change not just your life, but your family's life, your children's lives, your grandchildren's lives. And then it's going to be something that you will use for legacy building. And that our goal is to create real for real generational wealth. So I just want everybody to go to Richard Good, wealthyisbetter.com. You can get the audio book there. You can get the physical book there. You can get the digital book there.
Right. Thank you for what you do, man, because at least you wrote a book looking out for us. So I just want to thank you for doing that for us.
Man, I am so grateful. Let me tell you something, Carl, as we close. This book did not come from me. It came through me. So I give God the glory for this because I'm seeing the impact it's having. And you're right. We're going to close this wealth gap in our community. And this book is going to be one of the big tools to do so.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Jolley.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this special edition of the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show, and I hope you were able to get some real good information to help you grow yourself so you can grow your wealth. This is something that you want to do and listen to over and over again. Plus, I want to share how important it is to keep in mind the 3 legs to wealth. One leg is income, and the more income, the more opportunities and possibilities. In the book, I tell the story about the man who was fishing on the pier with one fishing rod, and a young guy comes along with a fishing rod and a brick. He pushed the fishing rod in the water and puts the big old brick on top of the fishing rod. Then he goes away. He comes back with another fishing rod and another brick. And he does that 7 times. At the end of the day, the guy with one pole had 1 fish. And the guy with the 7 poles had 7 fish. And so that lesson is you must always be thinking multiple streams of income. And so you got to have income first. And the more income, the better, that can help you grow your wealth. Then investment, living below your means and investing the difference. And one of the keys that I'm so excited about, you heard Carl Nelson's mention the name J.R. Fenwick. He was recently on this show. He is the guy I wrote about in the book who is the best stock market education expert I've ever met. He has a company called Flip That Stock, but he has a new program called Shop Online for Stocks. And I want you all to go to newwaytomakemoney.com. newwaytomakemoney.com. Check out this program. You can learn about how to purchase stocks and you can also create another stream of income by sharing that with your friends. It's a opportunity to get residual income. So we got income, investment, and then you got to have insurance. And I've been telling insurance companies I want to partner with them to tell people, you gotta have insurance. You gotta have multiple types of insurance: health insurance, life insurance, car insurance, fire insurance, so that if you have a crisis, it does not have to take money from your savings or your investments to handle it. So I really do hope you enjoyed today's show. And I am grateful again to Carl Nelson for having me on his show and for sharing my message with his vast audience. I want to thank again you for listening. I want to thank Truist Bank for being my sponsor partner. And when you start with care, you really do build a different kind of bank, Truist Bank. And then I want to say, make sure you tune in next week for next week's show. And make sure you go to winwithwillie.com for resources to help you win more. Get the book, Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better, at richisgoodwealthyisbetter.com. And last but not least, join us on Monday nights for the Jolly Marriage Show, where my wife and I address marriage issues. We've been married for 40 years, haven't had an argument in over 38 years, and we tell people what we've learned as marriage mentors to help them to empower and enrich and improve their relationships. You can go to the YouTube for the Jolly Marriage Show on YouTube, or you can join us on Monday nights at A Jolly Marriage on Facebook, The Real Willie Jolley on Instagram, and Willie Jolley on LinkedIn Live. Have a great day, and remember, for sure, your best is yet to come. Have a great day. Well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode, and I hope you got something of great value. And I hope that you were inspired, you were motivated, you were empowered, and you were encouraged to live your best life. I hope this information and this inspiration will help you to do more, be more, and to achieve more. That's the goal why I started this program, and I hope it helped you in a mighty way. Now, I ask you to make sure and that you take full advantage of all the resources that came through this program. I hope you go to wjspeaks.com/gift and get some of the free resources that we have there for you. I hope you go to wjspeaks.com/shop to get some of the books that we have created, that we've labored over to make sure that they will deliver a powerful message to you. I hope you go to williejolly.com/billionaire, williejolly.com/billionaire, or wjspeaks.com/billionaire to get the box that it will inspire your whole family, or get the bag of books. Make this a great day, a great week, a great month. And remember, it is true that you are blessed and all things are possible for them that believe. So make the most of the belief that you have now in your future. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Have a great day.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.